What's up, everybody? Today we are looking at a toy from VeryCool, which unfortunately is not very cool. We got Heart King from WeFire, and without further ado, let's get cracking on this review. To be completely honest, I have no shame in my game whatsoever. When I saw this beautiful image there, I thought to myself, ooh, a hot chick with guns. What could possibly go wrong? So I bought it almost immediately. To be as direct as possible, it's don't buy this figure. This is one of the few six skill figures that I have ever gotten, which as a whole I'm just genuinely displeased with. Really, I can't. It's got some good stuff about it, but for the most part, I would not recommend getting this at all. The only time I could really say it would be worth buying, if you plan on ripping her apart just to kit bash with her. Cool, you know, you get some fun accessories. The head sculpt I actually really like, which we'll get to in a bit. Other than that, if you play the video game and you absolutely love her, sure, go right ahead. It's from a game called WeFire, which I don't even think is available in the US. But, you know, if that game's your jam and you just run around slapping with this chick, absolutely, go ahead and get it. She's not complete garbage. But as far as I'm concerned, she's pretty much trash. So we'll kind of go ahead and get started and just kind of take a look at her top to bottom, go over the accessories, what I like, what I hate, and we'll leave it up from there. So there are, like I said, a few good things about the figure. One thing that I really did like is her beautiful little head sculpt here. Now, she does have removable sunglasses. Like I said, this figure does have a ton of cool accessories, and this is one of them. So, if you were considering getting this figure just for the head sculpt and the little fun goods that you get with her, not bad. I got her from Big Bad Toy Store for about $140 though, so you're gonna spend some money on it. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that's not horribly overpriced for like a head sculpt and clothing set. You know, if you were to get something from like Super Duck, you're probably looking around 80 or 90 bucks, give or take. So not terrible in that regard. It's still kind of overpriced, but the face does look beautiful. I do really like the look of her eyes. I love the sculpted hair. They did a great job painting that. Overall, I just think the head itself is probably the best thing about this figure. I'm sorry for it going out of focus, but really, they did do a great job on that. So I'll give them credit where credit's due in that regard. Now, she does have a couple other accessories that go along sort of with the head. You pretty much have to yank her head off to attach them, though, so I have not done that yet. The first one is this cool little choker here. Now, honestly, it's kind of hard to focus on it, but it's basically a strap with little rhinestones glued to it. It's really nothing special, but it's a kind of fun little accessory for her. Might get put on eventually, not really too sure. The other thing that she comes with is a fun little dog tag. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it. It does have a little lightning bolt on it. Yeah, it looks like that's coming up. Now, one thing I hated about this, and I'm going to set this down just to show her, I feel this is kind of a good example of the figure as a whole, where I just feel like there's corners that they cut. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to focus on this, but they basically, rather than make it like an attachable or detachable chain, they just kind of wrapped and soldered a wire around that right there, which is going to hold it together. Let's see, there we go. It will keep it together, which is good, but you're going to have to yank her head off to put it on and off. And I don't know, it sort of felt cheap to me. I feel like they could have done a little better in that regard. So that was kind of disappointing there. Honestly, though, not the worst thing in the world. We'll get to a lot of other issues that I had as we scroll down this gal's body. Now, next up, we'll kind of move down to my bag fell off. We'll get to that. We'll kind of move to her shirt. Honestly, the clothing on the top part of her body is awesome. There is a little undershirt to this. The zipper does get kind of stuck. But for the most part, they did a really good job on this jacket part. They also use a weird kind of hybrid body, and honestly the top half, the upper torso, it has a lot of cool detail that I don't see on most of like the Fisons and stuff that I've gotten, so I did kind of like that. It's a little bit more unique than some of the other ones. She does have a bunch of upper body accessories, I guess you could call them, one of which is a backpack. Now the backpack to me is absolutely terrible. It's separate from the harness, and in order to attach it, you have to pull out these little straps right here, and you have to slide them into these little grooves there, and then reinsert them down into the bottom part there. I did it once and I hated it. It ends up sitting the backpack right about there, kind of leans off a little bit, but I just didn't like the look of it. I think, you know, if it was lower back, somewhere down there, even small back maybe, I might use it, but it's just kind of a strange position in my opinion for it, so I didn't really like it. The harness I thought was just kind of a goofy looking fun add-on even without the pack, so I left it on there. It just kind of gave her a little more character. It'll probably get yanked off eventually, but she does have that, which you can clip on there. You can open up the backpack, but there's honestly just some squishy plastic inside, nothing too exciting. Really can't fit too much in the side pouches at all, but you can kind of open and play with it if need be. You could of course yank that little squishy stuff out and fill it up with whatever you wanted if you so desired. Now I don't know how well this is going to hold up over time. I'm pretty concerned with it. Just because it's kind of this weird leathery material. It's probably actual leather, but I'm just worried it's going to flake like a lot of leather things do, or show significant wear, especially in kind of the creased areas up there and stuff. But we'll see how that holds up over time. Now our arms are more hard plastic than anything. They've got some decent articulation, but they have these absolutely hideous elbow joints. They're basically kind of like an old school G.I. Joe elbow. And to cover them up, you get these fancy little yellow arm sleeves. Now these things are a pain to put on. I don't think they're going to hold up over time. I'm pretty confident they're going to wear thin really badly there, especially if you're bending the elbow a lot. But they give you a nice little elbow pad to cover it. And that was kind of one of the other sort of things that I just kind of feel is sort of like a corner cut with this figure. You know, rather than try and make a better elbow joint or better sleeve that's not going to peel over time, they just kind of slap an elbow pad on it and it's covered. Now granted, she probably has elbow pads in the game, but whatever. I just think it almost feels like it's one that they knew was going to fail and we're just like, yeah, we're good. You also get these little WeFire bracelets that you can kind of put over her wrists. It's not focusing too well. There we go. And that'll also just kind of help cover any little wrist joints there. So I do kind of like that they hide the joints with that, but I wish they didn't have to, I guess is the best way to put it. Now going a little further down, we're going to get into one of the biggest issues that I've had with the figure so far. She comes with this fancy belt. The problem with it is it serves no purpose because it doesn't attach to the pants, so you basically can just clip these little grenades on. The grenades are cool looking. They got the nice little skull and crossbow that's there. You do get two of them, so you can just kind of hang them on there. But the thing that I hated, and I'm hoping you'll be able to see this, whatever material this is, wherever it rests on her body leaves a very nasty kind of black smudge. Now it does wipe off, usually. Might need to get a little water on there to clean it. But it really doesn't have to sit on that fleshy part for very long to leave a mark. So that was a big issue for me. It basically makes this belt unusable. You might be able to pull it down over her pants, but not entirely sure. Now on the subject of pants, we get into the next area that I really hated. These things are so incredibly tight. You get absolutely no articulation out of her lower half. That's an exaggeration. You get some, but not much. They're so tight I can't actually Velcro them up all the way. She does have this fun little whale tail that's going on there. I dropped one of her grenades, which is fine. But it just kind of looks weird. She does got a nice donkey, though. I'll give her that. But yeah, this is about as far as you can. Not that you really need to spread her legs a whole bunch, but really anything beyond that is going to do a lot of stress on the fabric. I feel like if I just kind of went further, it would probably just rip the pants entirely. This holster thing I actually really, really like. It is one of the other few little perks that I'll give it. Clips on pretty easily. It is a little bit tricky to get into there. It took a little work just to line it up. I'm a klutz, so and I have big dopey fingers, so it was kind of hard to do. You can put the little gun in there. We'll take a look at the gun in a bit. And then going further down, we get to what will be my biggest issue with the figure, I would say, for the most part. Her knees are worse than her elbow joints. And as you can see, that is just disgusting looking. It's super jagged. I guarantee it's going to rip this apart over the years, especially if you try and pose her much. Now again, they kind of go the, we know it's not going to look good over time, so we'll give you some options. They include these little brown knee sleeves, and then little knee pads that can go over them. I'll eventually pop those on. I am just, to be honest, was kind of lazy and kind of disappointed with just how tight it is and how restricted the movement is. And like I said, I'm kind of almost positive that's going to peel and just heavily get damaged over time. Unless you keep her in a museum pose, then you might be okay. But even then, I mean, I haven't done much with her at all other than have her in the box. And you can already kind of see that it's getting some creasing and stuff there. Going further down, we get to the boots, and it's kind of the same issue. For whatever reason, I feel like they don't line up terribly well with the foot sculpt. So you get this weird, bizarro bulge here on the inside. And they just look kind of ugly. I think if you look at it, you know, head on like that, looks like she's got, you know, this weird sort of ankle bone spur thing. I'm guessing it's something to do with the way the zipper was, but definitely not the most attractive. Now, I will give it credit for being high-heeled and relatively thin-heeled. She actually stands and balances really well, which is good because you don't get a base with the figure. But the fact that she can actually stand there and be relatively supportive is pretty impressive to me, so I was happy with that. A couple other last-minute things that I didn't get to as far as accessories. She has this really, really stupid hat. There is absolutely no way that she's able to wear this in any regard. You might be able to just kind of balance it on her head, but it looks pretty stupid. So that I'm probably just going to toss. Might at some point have her posing holding it for no particular reason, but who knows. She also comes with a second little pouch for the left leg. It's a pain in the butt to get it to stay on. You kind of got to wrap it around, fold it, and then connect it into this thing. This piece, actually, when I first got it, this little part is supposed to be attached to the strap, but it popped off right away. So it makes it a little harder to stay in place. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of this anyway, just because you can kind of see the little plastic in there. There's not really anything you can fit in this. You might, if you're lucky. Nah, the clip's too big. So she does have an extra magazine for one of her guns, but that's not going to fit in there. I really, other than decoration, this isn't going to serve much purpose. And as you could see earlier, it just kind of falls off for me just because that strap doesn't hold on very well. Actual firepower, she does have some cool stuff. She's got a couple grenades and a couple guns, which I love. She came with an AK, which I am a huge fan of AKs. It does have a little movable slide there, and you can pop out the magazine, which does have some, there we go, some bullets in the chamber. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then she's also got like a little handgun 1911 type thing. Also removable magazine, which is neat. And one thing I like about this is you can actually move the slide back. They are plastic, but did a really good job with those. So for the accessories in that regard, I'm going to give them a thumbs up. That was actually one of the cooler things they did, was this gun and then the AK. I'll probably end up giving them to some other people down the line. I've been posing my Hot Toys Jawa a lot with the AK. That's kind of become his at this point, and I think it's basically going to stay that way. Now, she will look good alongside some G.I. Joes, so that's a plus. We got Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow on the way from 3.0. Hopefully you're picking those up. I think those are doing really well sale-wise, so we'll probably see some other figures down the line. The movie was awful, so I don't expect we'll get any Snake Eyes Origins stuff anytime soon. Wah, wah. But if you need a fun little companion piece, I'm probably going to have her posed with that stuff, or I might yank off her clothing, get her a new outfit, do like a kit bash of some sort, because like I said, the outfits, the pants, and all of that, it's just garbage. It's going to fall apart over time, and most importantly, it's going to keep staining her body black, which I'm not a fan of. So that'll do it for this one. I'm going to get that belt off, get her back in the box for now. You all have yourselves a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.